All right, welcome back, everyone. Not sure why this happened again, but we'll figure it out next time. Well, I'm back with Brandon Potts, who spoke at the Year Three event. He's my Tuesday regular, and yeah, we're just going to talk about the event. If his presentation went the way he wanted it to, and his daughter also was attended the event. So, how you been, man? You caught up with all your work?
Man, I think what's happening, it's getting real busy. Soon as I got back, starting, gosh, on that Tuesday, it went good. I mean, this is good stuff for me. Our business is property management, and so we're picking up quite a few doors just in the last week. I've had three different investors call us, and it's been a little slow the last couple of months. So and then plus I'm doing builds, so I know this group knows that, and I've got lots of to-dos this next week. Plus I have kids, so baseball has started, the first games, just lots of good things happening.
Yes, Cody is mentioning we have a ghost member again that happened to us yesterday. I'm gonna test something real quick. Hopefully, you don't bounce off. I'm gonna see if this fixes it. Hold on, real quick. There we go. All right. I
Oh,
got it back.
oh.
All right. So, yes, definitely. And I saw you did have a discussion with Zuber, so we can dig into that also. But yeah, I thought so I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to watch your presentation because I got pulled upstairs to interview with Lumberjack at that time. So I think they knew I was gonna uh, heckle you with some
They were trying to
questions.
pull you off the floor so you wouldn't mess it all up.
But yeah, did you think it went the way you wanted to? Anything you would change? But how was it for you?
I thought my presentation, the way I thought about it, and maybe you knew this, and some of the audience, I've done presentations before, so this isn't the first time I've done it. And I was thinking through, what does the audience want from me, and so I had thought through that. And in my presentation, I wanted to give the initial why I'm pressing so hard and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I mentioned my father and watching him work all his life until the last days fighting for his life. He had worked hard all the way through into his early 70s. And when he blacked out, and I remember it like it was yesterday, he blacked out the week after Christmas that year, landed face first, and we knew something serious was wrong. We took him back and got the diagnosis of glioblastoma brain cancer, and he never walked again. He went home on a bed and never and was bedridden and declined so rapidly in those 2 months. It was just a hard time in my life, and made me realize I need to press a little faster so that I could have time, whether however much God allows me to have. I want to be able to enjoy it. And so that put us, I was already at the beginning of the real estate journey, but it made me say, okay, I've got to press, not be so relaxed about it because I don't know. I want to get there in my 50s and be able to enjoy, maybe 20 to 30 years, and not have worked all my life and never had a moment to enjoy, because I just watched his decline, which was a very glioblastoma brain cancer is a very aggressive brain cancer. They gave him a 6-week diagnosis. He lived for 8 or 10 weeks after that. It was very painful. I'm glad I know I'm sharing something off topic, but I read what glioblastoma brain cancer is. And I'm glad I did, because I saw some very ugly, horrible things that nobody should see of their parent. And my kids I didn't let them come in the last 3 weeks because it was extremely hard. And so that motivated me. I wanted to give the why and then the how. So I went into, mine was more of a little bit of a nuts and bolts from a big picture view.
Yeah, I think from my takeaway from what your interview with Zuber, you're also your daughter. I think she
Yes.
stayed, right? Because I think Cody folks were having their teenage
She
discussion.
did.
Yeah.
Because Cody was trying to figure it out too. We didn't know the exact plan, and even Zuber said that he wasn't. he wanted them coming, but he didn't make a structured plan for them. But next year he is. So my daughter and her friend Joey, that we another family that came that supported me, they went up and talked to Cody and Ashley that first day, and so it was neat for them because they got to spend some one-on-one time with them. And Cody was asking them to dream and what they're wanting in the future, and so that was special time with Cody. And I want to say, Cody, if you're listening, it really meant a lot to Joey and to Bailey spending time with them, and we appreciate that.
I do see a lot of people saying, thanks for sharing, Brandon. Like Josh Burdick is saying, it's a powerful why. Losing a parent is a deep reality check. I lost my mom to cancer. And I think yeah, it's a great message, especially finding your why. And I think a lot of people too, even the health side was very eye opening for them after this event. So it seems like there's also a group of individuals that are maybe that have let their health slide a little bit the past few years and are putting that back in the forefront. And there's kind of a little group forming, I think, in the school community to kind of make it a challenge for next year. And
Yeah.
now everyone's egos are coming out for the push-up challenge next year. And now, yeah.
Well, I had prepared, and I guess because I knew I was presenting, I have been on a little bit of a health journey, and I still have more to go, but I've lost in the last year almost 20, between 25 and 30 pounds. So I've gotten healthy as far as losing weight. Now I need to spend more time in the gym, getting physically even stronger. My thing was, and I know some of y'all know the story, I had been part of uh, athletics in a high level, and I've still struggled with burnout. Now, almost 10 years later, I'm still so burnt out from my entire career. From I started sports when I was 3 years old, played college sports, went into triathlon, made Team USA, and finished my career at 40. So I spent more than 3 decades at a high level of exercise, and I'm struggling with motivation of why do I exercise? Because I used to do it for a specific performance reason, and I'm trying to work still to this day, working through working out just to be healthier because I've been groomed for 35, 40 years of doing it to athletically perform.
So, after your presentation, did you kind of feel like you hit your mark?
I think I accomplished what I wanted to. I was given a really good piece in when I was presenting, and I didn't feel any nervousness at all, truthfully. I mean, just genuinely. And it helped me read the room a little bit. And I had plans because I've done a lot of speaking and I'm trying to keep everybody's intention. And I was intentional, but also genuine of calling out who was it? Why am I drawing a blank right now? Brick by Brick Wealth. Um,
Casey.
Casey, her point that she made the day before, calling out Coach Carson, um, it brought the room back and kind of changed up what I was saying for just a second to re-engage. But I will say I was noticing quite a bit of engagement. I was seeing everybody's eyes. They were focused. You could tell they were paying attention. They were taking pictures of the slides. They were taking notes because I was trying to hit that audience. They wanted to hear what I was doing, and I was trying to bring enough detail without getting too thick in the weeds, enough big picture detail of metrics, because everybody knows that's my thing. I like to talk numbers, but not get too much into it. I was trying to hit that balance of giving some overview metrics, but also prove it out to Brian that, hey, I'm making money today.
Trade better makes a great point. He says focus on grip strength, if nothing else. Bad grip strength leads to the most 65 plus injuries and deaths. Cashflow Johnny, I see here, says I love the gym. I'm in there 5 days a week minimum. Yeah. So I think definitely, I think like I said, I watched your video with Zuber kind of recapping So it sounds like I don't know if you're going to be like a presenter next year with Cody, but it sounds like the teenagers are going to be a big part of it again, right? And
Yes.
I think there's some things that you're hoping, like like a whiteboard and things like. So are you already brainstorming for next year, possibly?
Yeah, so I mean, I do present to that age group, and I hope he opens it up not just to late teens, but early 20s group, because I put them in a similar category. They're just beginning to live their life, a lot of them. And I've been able to speak to that audience, and it does sound like I'm going to be a part of that and really presenting to that group. And it's a more specific, designed for them day. It might be 2 days where they're one day down with all the other presenters, and one day that they're by themselves with their own presenters. And I think it's going to be very meaningful to them. And I have right here, and I know I showed y'all, but I have, the my daughter's perspective. I'm going to create a video. I talked to her just a few minutes ago. I literally just saw what she wrote this morning. I wished I'd have had a little bit of it for Zuber yesterday. I just got it today. She sent it to me. We're going to do an interview, I hope, this Saturday. So I talked to her this morning. I said, hey, please, I think the group would have loved it, of hearing from that age group what they learned.
Um, Aside from the event, I know you were kind of preparing her for Vegas. Uh,
Yes.
what was her takeaway of Vegas after returning home?
We talked not a whole lot. She was, of course, a little shocked at what she saw. Where the stuff that we didn't want to go by too much was by the link, and y'all will know where they kind of pinhole you into a spot, and they take advantage of it. And so she was only down there once, maybe twice. Um, but I mean, it was good for her to at least see something. But we've raised her right, and she has high standards. So it wasn't like I was like Vegas vacation, worried about she was going to stay and join the group.
You definitely kept her away from us, right? You're
Yeah,
making
I tried
trouble
my
out.
best to keep her away from you.
uh, so, so Cody Davis says, your reason for sports and health should be to get the extra last minute moments with your kids in good health. I have seen 90-year-olds on deathbed and 90-year-olds walking outside with kids. Yep. That's
Yes.
funny. I just want to touch on something. So there actually was or he was a newscaster out in Hawaii. I think he's from the Northeast, but I think he was out here kind of with his dream job per se, and I guess he was adopted, I believe. So he has like parents that are in their 90s, and they needed care. So he left his dream job being in Hawaii, and he's back. And now I forgot what he started, a YouTube channel like recording with
Yeah.
his father, and they're kind of documenting the journey. But yeah, it's a very touching story. When I find the name, I'll put it in the chat. But to that point, right? When they get older, they definitely need some care and whatnot. But you being in good health also is very important, right? So, Stephen from the Bronx says Brannon could get remotivated into doing exercise by challenging Zuber to a push-up contest next year. I know Cody's on board with this. Yeah.
Well, here's the
Uh,
difference. There's two different sides to sports. There's those that are really good at strength, and those that have big engines. And where I'm at, I've always had a big engine as far as cardiovascular. So I was really good at long-term type of exercise, not necessarily strength. Strength's probably more my limiter. But when it comes to a heart engine, I've got a strong heart engine. I could run, when I was 40 years old, I could run almost a 440 mile at 40 years old.
yeah. I mean, I know you've mentioned that before, but I think a lot of people probably didn't
They don't
realize
believe
that.
me, but that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
truth.
yeah.
But that was
uh,
also, you know, I was at my fittest, 160, and had an engine. I mean, that's how I made Team USA. You've got to have an engine like that.
Harrison says, Brandon, did you get a chance to watch Graham Stephan's Iced Coffee Hour with Chris Camillo? How are your kids preparing for the world of AI in business?
No, I haven't watched that. We were actually talking to my son just the other day. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, so I talked to them about those things. Yasik, you'd beat me. I know it. You'd beat me. But we're talking about starting up some careers, and it's not just college careers, it's trade careers. And I was talking to him about maybe, an electrician, an HVAC company, something that AI cannot take from you. And we were talking about some of those things where he goes, and I always talk to these kids, initially, you want to work to learn before you work to earn. It's not about the earnings, especially early. It's getting around good people that will train you, and it's more of a tradesman apprentice type of model. If and he's mechanically inclined, so I'm looking at each of my kids, and I'm looking at their natural gifting. My son is more mechanically inclined than I am. I'm more the numbers. He's good with those things, but he's definitely more mechanically inclined than I am, and I'm trying to give him some ideas of his natural talents. My daughters are different. My oldest daughter, which nobody met, she's actually working right now. Here she is about to turn 20. She got offered. She's working with a gold and silver backed IRA company. Just started that a month ago, but how that came about, she was a nanny for the CEO of the company. And because she did so well and was so disciplined, that family came to her graduation party 2 years ago and said, your daughter has impressed us. She can talk with adults. She was well prepared and feels comfortable with adults, but she was also a hard worker. Even when she was taking care of the kids, she would clean the house. He was so impressed with her that he offered her, she's the youngest kid at that company, youngest young adult at that company. And he said she is impressing some of the other older adults because of her hard work and skills. So we're trying to train up our kids with what their natural giftings are.
Flavio is saying, I'm in my 40s, feel like 70. Uh, Yasik says, Brandon, I forgot to ask something after your presentation, which, by the way, was amazing. I believe it was going to be Bitcoin related.
Why don't you, I think somebody else needs to answer this than me on Bitcoin. Everybody's suffering on that the Bitcoin bet.
Yeah, I believe last night it got under 63,000. So I think what 50% off from its high, they said. But back to your presentation a little bit. If someone only took one action from your talk, what should it have been?
If they're wanting to get into build to rent, it's getting connected, networked with a builder that would fit what you're going to do. It's a smaller builder. These are not your. I don't think the opportunities for wealth growth and you making the number is buying one on the resale. I think you have more opportunity building it yourself. And most people don't have that skill. So it's hiring a good general contractor. It's finding a general contractor or a couple that you can interview that would fit where you're going and get them to believe in what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, and if people are in school, all the presentations are available in school now. I haven't got a chance to go through all of them. On that point, also, did you get a chance to watch the Dion and Brian Davila part one, part two videos yet?
I watched both of them and even made a comment in one of them, I believe, maybe both. But it's just interesting. I kept thinking of that statement, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. And he believes he can, and he's right.
Yeah, it was not as entertaining as I thought it was going to be, but it was definitely entertaining. And
I
but
was
I but
disappointed in just how he acted being a guest. I felt there was a little bit of, maybe it was intentional, but I thought I was expecting a little more respect when you call somebody a fake and a liar. I take real offense to that because I do feel like Zuber is the exact opposite of that, trying to be as genuine as real and talk about good things, bad things. I think that was not right. And to be a guest invited, I just that was disappointing.
Well, and that doesn't make it any better. I think that one was supposed to be for his channel. Like I think so. The part one was the one that was going to be for Zuber or Dion's channel, and then I
Okay.
I believe Brian left and then came back and was, hey, can I do one for my channel? And I think that other video was supposed to
Interesting.
be.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but yeah, to your point too. I mean, he makes great points. I think the biggest thing though is like you're saying how he comes across about it and the kind
How
of
he
the
comes across does not sit well with
yeah,
me.
and just kind of the whininess about it and everything. But definitely, people are entrepreneurs and there's way to make money there. But just like his tone,
But
I
you
guess
know
you could
what,
say.
Mark? I'm an entrepreneur, and y'all know that. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't do those things. I don't act disrespectful. I understand the audience and I can see both sides. I'm an entrepreneur and don't kind of lord it over those that aren't. I see
Nope.
it from all sides. And maybe that's just a maturity thing because I don't think I'll be honest, he did not come across as a very mature person to me.
Very true. Yeah. But like you're saying, I think and even Yasik is saying both are correct somewhat in their message for, kind of who they're targeting, right? So it's not so much he's wrong about some people are entrepreneurs and can make money that way. It's just his, like you're saying, it's just
Delivery, it's his
delivery,
delivery.
yeah, and tone and what just like
That's
I
why
don't
I'm
know. I'll
saying it's
just
an
say it.
it's an immature thing.
Yeah.
It's his delivery is immature.
Let's see. So did you get to see all the presentations for the most part? Was there any one that
I
stood out for
did,
you?
and I appreciate what Michael changed the date. I was balancing family things too. I had lots of things going on, and I stayed. I did not hear Pace Morby. My daughter and my wife were saying, "Hey, can we have some time too?" And I was trying to balance everything going on to try to be there as much as possible. But also, I had two families, friends that came for me, and I'm trying to balance everything else. I was doing my best to juggle lots of plates going on.
This question or this comment is from left field, but Nick Overman. Haven't seen you here before, but thanks for stopping by. He says, "Give me a quarterback like Sam Darnold." I believe he's talking about who's first one in the building and puts in the work over a quarterback like Lamar. I'm assuming he's saying Lamar Jackson that skips practices and meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced that in college. I was, for a period of time, I was the number two tennis player. And I had a guy that was number one. He did not practice well, and he had natural talent but none of the discipline talent, and it was very frustrating because I eventually got to be number one on the team, but I had to do it through hard work, determination, and focus. And I watched some guy with amazing natural talent but was lazy in his work habits, and I'll say long term it trained me for my career that those with focus and discipline can eventually come out ahead versus those with some natural talent that are lazy. And that's where I put Brian. I think he has some natural talent, but he has lazy discipline. That's why I'm trying to tie those two together. And I think that's what he has some natural talents, but I think he has lazy discipline and focus.
So you touched on the event a little bit. I know you've been there. You've been there all 3 years, right?
All
No.
3 years.
So what's your takeaway and maybe the how the events are progressing and maybe changes that Zuber's been talking about? What's your
I
thoughts
think
on
the changes and what he talked about yesterday of having some people talk about their strategy, I think
that? Whoops, not sure where Brannon went. All right. Well, hopefully he gets back on. I know he was having issues before we went live. I think his router's acting up because it keeps bouncing him off. But let's see. Let me exit him off of this and hopefully he comes back on. All right. Yeah, in the meantime, I'll, talk about what I've let's see what's
Oh, so it wasn't just me?
I have no idea. Well, we are back. I don't know if we're on the same stream right now because what? Let's see, are we live? It looks like we're live, but I don't know if it's a new stream. So hopefully everyone is still there. Um, I'm just gonna end Instagram because somehow it got stopped. All right. Um, let's see. Where were we? What were we talking about? I was talking about, well, what's coming up for me. Oh, yes, they are. What was Wednesday? Joel, Lauren. I think what we're gonna try and do also is maybe bring someone from the community on every week. So maybe if someone's available, like let's say Harrison or let's say Yasik or
Yeah.
Flavio, and one new person every week. But we got Brannon back. Like I said, he's been having some coconut wireless issues going on. Ike Hobbs says, Ike, who was at the event, who kind of had to twist his arm for a while, but he said, I appreciate the talk, Brandon. It was nice to see some real numbers and strategy instead of vague stuff. Even though I'm not in your market, have me some benchmarks to work with.
Yeah, I do think we're going. Even Michael mentioned is having some more presentations, talking about some strategy. I think that'll be good for next year. I think people will get excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. I liked a lot of the things he mentioned that hopefully he's gonna change or work on, or he's always trying to improve it.
Yes.
I definitely like the idea of Monday being a little bit short. I mean, not Monday, but Saturday being shorter.
Yes.
It is a long day. I definitely felt that the VIP event is lacking. This past year was kind of wasn't the same as previous years. What they were getting out of it. So I think he definitely noticed that. So it looks like he's going to address that and trying to give a better experience to the VIPs. Um,
The good thing is
so
he's not complacent. He's trying to improve it every year, and he's thinking and having some good evaluation. So he's not complacent. That's good.
I'm really interested to see how the event being in January. I think there's going to be a lot of people that maybe haven't come yet because it's in February for whatever reasons, and so there might be a lot of new faces. I think in January.
I think so too, because my wife had given me little hints that that was going to be on that date was going to be the last one for a while, because that is also our wedding anniversary. And we have over the years had just a few times where I haven't had something going on. And so when your wife gives you a subtle hint, you better listen. So
You also put together a Friday coffee meetup before the event. Well, because Dion has his Wednesday and Thursday midnight at Denny's, and you said that is too late for you, and you also put together a meetup on Friday. And I think people just like having those options of different meets.
yeah,
So how do you think that worked out?
I thought it was good. There was, what would you say, 30 to 35? I mean, there was quite a few people there. And the reason I did it was to create a time that I was thinking about me and saying there's got to be some others similar to me that don't like to be out that late. Why not have the same group? I say another group that wanted to meet in the morning when they've went to bed at normal time, and are more morning people than late night people. So that was the purpose. And yes, I did not pay for everybody's
Well,
meal, but
I thought that's why a lot of people showed up because they thought you were going to pay.
but I'm also still old school. You were the one that took up the slack, because I don't have Venmo and all those different things. I still pay with checks sometimes on bills. Guess that. Guess what? I'm still pretty old school, and I'm comfortable being that way. I'm comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah, just to clarify, I did not pay for I did not cover the bill. I paid for the
You
bill.
organize the bill.
Yeah, and
You
people just
organize the
reimburse
bill.
me. It's much easier than everyone trying to pay separate bills. So, let's see. I see Gus tuning in. Gus, unfortunately, Vegas was kind of a last minute thing for him, so he wasn't able to pull it off. But I think definitely he'll be there at next year's event. Uh, Yasik is saying, yeah, some of us should just stay there from the midnight meetup. Sorry. Did you go to any of the Denny's ones before, previously, in the previous
No,
years?
that was the first time I'd ever been around something like that because I knew I couldn't do them back then. I wasn't a late night person.
If anyone is in the chat that went to the Denny's meetups, give me your thoughts on the location. I kind of I actually kind of preferred the other Denny's, the original one, even though it was kind of a little further out, and it's
Did y'all meet at a different Denny's than the one we met at?
not for this year. This year they were all at that same Denny's on the
Oh,
strip.
okay.
But last year, it was kind of outside of Vegas in a sense. So it was
That's what I
outside.
heard. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
not right in that area. That it was a little further out.
Hey, Joel is here, lending for entrepreneurs, who is now a converted ORaaT groupie. Took him years to get to the event. I kind of, everyone says I bullied him, but he loves it now. Yeah, even Lynn says she prefers the other Denny's. So,
Let me
uh,
share. I'd love to share a cup, just two, because I talked to my daughter. She's a lot like my wife. She really is sharp, but getting in front of an audience, she doesn't have those experiences. And so she gets real nervous. I've been talking to her about would she be willing to do a video with me. Right now, I think I have her agreeing, and we're going to be filming. We talked about Saturday there, where sometimes I do some of my videos out by the pool, having a video with her. So I'm saying yes now. She's saying yes now, but she shared some things that were just amazing just to hear it pure, because I didn't want to give her any coaching. I wanted to hear it pure. And she said, I'm just going to give you two. Direct investing is better than investing in others' projects.
I like
That's
that.
one thing she wrote down. And I'm just giving you two because I want her to really talk about these. I think this video is going to be pretty good that everybody will be interested in. Don't constantly change your strategies because you could end up going backwards.
Ooh,
Is
well,
that not something? I sat there, I'm looking at
sheesh.
these.
I think she's
She wrote,
adopted. She
I
must be
know
adopted.
I sent it to Zuber just a few minutes ago. I said, this is stuff we've been teaching for years that we wish adults would learn, and she's hit, I mean, just pure from her what she learns. That's just two of the six that she put down, and we're going to talk about those on Saturday. And I'll get that recording, and I pray that she's willing to do it. And she said, will you help me? So we're going to go over it beforehand to make her, not be so nervous, but I want her to give a little bit more description to it.
Brandon knows I'm joking. Yasik says that was not nice. But before we touch on that a little bit more, I do want to give a shout out to Andy, who was at the event, and he just started his YouTube channel. So I saw his first video the other day. So his Andy's channel is in the chat. So if you can jump over there, subscribe and go like his first video. Yes, so there is a few people mentioning they did prefer the other Denny's, the original one, but they also maybe would like the one by the downtown Grand, or near Fremont's, because it is closer to the Grand, and that's where a lot of people are staying. I know Jim is working on maybe seeing if we can get some kind of group rate at the Grand, because there's so much people staying there, and even possibly getting like a conference room where Zuber might have like a pre-event VIP dinner if everything works out.
Oh,
But
that's pretty interesting.
but we'll see. Victor's here. Victor got in a little bit late to the event. I think he believed he didn't get there till Sunday. But he said next year will be at Costco. Lynn is here. She did receive a belt at the event, which is very cool.
Yes,
And
she
you
did.
also got one. How it's a real belt, right? It's heavy, man.
It's heavy. Yes, it's a real belt and it's heavy. And it was interesting to see all the people looking at it when I was walking through different venues, carrying it in and out. It was it was pretty interesting. Everybody was staring at it. It's Zuber did a great job on that.
Jen is here, who did a great job with John Litz and Kenny in checking everyone in. A lot every year it seems to be getting smoother and smoother to check in. Jen does ask though, that's such a mature response. How old is your daughter?
She is 18, but understand, and I know I'm bragging on her, but I'm proud of her. She was voted for her senior class the most likely to succeed and become a millionaire. She was voted by the student body of the high school as homecoming queen. She was voted by the teachers for 2 years, the leader of her class. She's got just some very strong. It's not get in your face type of leader. It's this more quiet, strong, disciplined leader. That's just the character she has in her.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that is one of the great things about the community. Like Yasik says, people can take a joke. So you can see it, I think, from year one to now. It keeps progressing, and people are getting more and more comfortable seeing each other, and even on the Zoom calls, and people are now able to playfully joke and poke around at each other. Uh,
Absolutely.
the Grand, let's see. Hyder says the Grand would be losing a lot of business if they don't open up the conference room. Maybe no refreshments, just access to the room. So that is what Jim Zuber did mention. It would be Friday, if it can be 6 to 9 p.m., 5K all in. That's food, tip, everything, and he'll get it. So Jim is trying to Jim had a call with him yesterday, and he's trying to see like, oh, if there's this many rooms, if we get this many rooms, can we get a discount? Can the conference room be thrown in, type of thing. So he's trying to work on that and see what's an option for us. Yeah, they thought you were a WW. She says, so you know how old Jen is. She says WWF still yet. The old school people still call the wrestling WWF. But definitely, yeah. So Jack mailed his back to Pittsburgh because he was worried about TSA. So he spent $100 to mail his
Wow.
belt to.
Oh yeah, they let it go through. There was really very little issue. So yeah.
I had to stuff two because I had mine that Zuber wanted us to all bring, and then I had to bring Mikey's one back to Hawaii. But yeah, I had no problem bringing it back. I did break the wheel on my carry-on luggage though, so I have to get a replacement for that. So it sounds like you will be back in January, right? Because of the new date. I think you were saying
I
February.
think
Your
so.
wife.
That works better for me, and then looking forward to teaching that Gen Z group. That's it. Looks like that's what's going to happen, and be a participant in that, and that's really kind of a purpose and a mission for what I do. So I'm looking forward to that.
I know you're in Texas also, and there was someone, I forget where I saw their comment, but they were now on the fence about coming because it's in January, and I guess they're more concerned about pipes freezing in like Texas, I guess, because it's so. Is that a big thing that time of year for you folks? I mean,
Oh, every now and then. I mean, this is life. We will have usually about once a year we'll have a decent little cold snap, but you know it hasn't. I manage 230 doors, and that didn't in that last cold freeze that we had, where it got down to in our area, it got down to 10 degrees, and our whole 230 doors, we didn't have a single pipe freeze.
Flavio is asking, Brandon, what was the book name that you mentioned that is similar to what you were thinking?
That would be, and I'm actually going to be on his podcast the end of March. It's How to Retire in 10 Years or Less.
I
So
think
that was the book. It's Ryan Lee. He's been on recently. I don't know if y'all been watching his channel. He's been on with uh, Ken McElroy and Robert Kiyosaki a lot lately.
I think he's in that tree kind of now, right? Seems like
It
it's
seems like it to
y-
me.
yeah. Because I think that is what he's talking about quite a bit would fall under their kind of branch, right?
he
Like,
he mentions Robert Kiyosaki in the book. He takes some of the principles. He also takes some of the principles from the Wealth Code, the Banker's Code, and the Debt Millionaire, which is books that came out started around 2013 or 2014. He was he uses some of that book. So it's a mix actually, and then there's another book he uses. It's kind of a mix of a whole bunch of different books.
Also, another thing, Yasik is saying, I know you talked to Zuber about creating a panel for next event. How about a monthly or every other month call for the younger generation to prime them before the event?
Getting yeah, that's a possibility. Getting that organized. I think what Zuber was talking about is a group of us meeting monthly that are going to be planning out that that conference for that group. I don't know if he's talking about, I didn't interpret it that way, that he's talking about getting the Gen Zs primed, but that could be another thought also.
Well, no, no, yeah, I think you got what Zuber was talking about correct. I think what Yasik might be asking is you or someone in the community setting up kind of a monthly call for not maybe a group of like the teenagers that attended the event or teenagers
Right,
that are in
right.
the people's kids that can kind of get them ready for this event coming up and have them so they kind of go in a little bit with some maybe
No, that's,
information
I
and
mean, that's a
knowledge.
good thought. That's a good thought.
Also, I know Zuber mentioned possibly having like a board game night or event a little bit, like playing the cash flow or Monopoly or something at the event. So that would be pretty cool too, I think. Let's see. So, yep, I think Zuber's talking about a 4-hour block next year for the teenagers. Something you guys are working on for that. I know I just saw him post in school, kind of suggestions on maybe not necessarily speakers, but maybe some of the accountability groups to
Yeah,
be
I
on
saw that
stage
too.
as a possibility. So, have you had a chance to maybe think about that or what? Accountability groups you would maybe want to see on there the first year, possibly?
I saw that this morning and just had to get to taking care of some things, but I did see it this morning. I'm gonna spend some time. I think it's a good idea, and it's almost like panels. And I really do like a few of the discussions to be these panel discussions because I think that seemed to resonate when he brought the lenders up, and it seemed like one other one. I do think the audience appreciates those panels, and I think those could last 45 minutes to an hour, and they'd have quite a few questions because you're hearing thoughts and experiences from multiple people all at the same time. So I think that, it seemed like that resonated. So the panels with some of the accountability groups could be very good too. Did I lose you, Mark?
Someone was just calling the house phone, so I just picked it up and hung
Oh,
it up.
yeah.
I have no idea, some random telemarketer, I believe.
I know here all I get is calls for they want to do a free inspection on my roof, and I have a lot of fun with those conversations.
Yeah, if they call my parents' house phone still yet, it's I know it's some sort of telemarketer basically this early in the morning. So, but let's see. It's a lot for teens to take in for one weekend. So that also is actually, I think Saturday after sitting with Cody, a lot of the teenagers maybe just were mind blown, right? So they kind
Yeah.
of it was a little overwhelming for them to some extent. So
And I
Yasik
think
does make
that's
a good
where
point.
the maybe the meetings ahead of time, even if it's just a few, will help them to begin to absorb and process. What I did with my daughter and Joey, or some of our friends, we had them read Retire Young, Retire Rich. I did it for my daughter because she was missing school. I wanted to give her a little preface and start getting some of that mindset of understanding of some of it. So she read that book, which is not a small book. She read that book ahead of time, and I think it primed her and prepared her for some of the material so that she could have more ability to absorb it.
Yep. I think Lynn's agreeing. Yeah, Yasik is saying you still have a home for. Yeah, parents are old, man. Some people still have. I don't know why they have a cell phone. I don't know why they don't use that more.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, Brandon probably has a home phone.
No, I don't. No, I don't. But I will
uh,
say I have a young, I call her, she's a millennial. She was making fun of me yesterday with writing checks and having a checkbook. So
I always tell that story, because in the firehouse we finally got debit cards. For the longest time, we used to have to pay for the food and meals with checks, and a lot of we finally got debit cards because a lot of places weren't taking checks anymore. But anyways, we still have the checkbook because so one of the young firefighters, when he first got to our station, it was his turn to go grocery shopping and whatever, and we gave him the checkbook, and he just was this blank look on his face, like how do I, like, what do I do
how do
here?
I even write a check?
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, I mean, people don't write checks too often anymore. But it was just funny that he just had no idea what this was. Let's see. Anything else? Let's see. What did I talk to? What else did Zuber mention on his call? He did live stream with that. He wants to do more live streams, I think, on Sundays with the community. I do
Yep.
think getting Frank's Zoom group on the stage will be great, just because they're like the OGs. They're kind of the one that was started before school even started. So that would be very cool. And I definitely think the getting the ladies of ORaaT up there would be kind of interesting, because we don't really see,
Absolutely.
yeah, we don't see what's
Absolutely.
going on. It's kind of a special group, and none of us get to see what's there. Flavio tried to sneak in one time, but the rest of us, we don't know what's going on there. But I think it'll be cool for the community to see what they kind of talk about, or who's even a part of it, right? Because I don't really even know, besides maybe a few names, like who actually shows up for that. Uh, there's got to be YouTube video. Yeah, there's got to be YouTube videos on how to write a check. Looks like that could be a moneymaker, maybe. Looks like you have a runny nose too, also, man. I got some allergies and stuff going on since
Yeah,
I got
that's
back.
this season. That's what I fight.
So let's see. Anything else you want to talk about the event? I mean, I thought it went pretty well.
I
But
think it
definitely,
went well. Yeah,
yeah.
and it was really good to share and meet, see everybody again. And you're right, we're getting very comfortable with each other. And I think these accountability groups, all these live streams, we're building some relationships where we can have some fun. But also, some of these people can be more isolated than others, and they feel like they can build that community, even though it's through online. You have a group that you could trust to share what's going on, even if you get made fun of, Mark.
Well, that's why I was trying to get you out more often. And what is going on here? Hold on. What just happened? Hold on. I'm gonna. It looks like the portrait mode may have stopped streaming. Oh well, it's not a big deal. It's still a work in progress. Looks like streaming both ways. Hey, Dion's here. What did you think about that too? Then I see Dion tuning in. He'll be live streaming at 4 p.m. Pacific today. What was your takeaways? Because I mean, did you see a lot of Dion, Millennial Mike, Lumberjack while you were at the event?
They were upstairs in their room, so I didn't. I went up, a couple of times, but I just didn't get it much time to talk to either one, any of them really. Um, I think I talked to Millennial Mike just for a brief second, and that was about it. Because every time I went up there, I didn't see Dion, and then I saw Matt in the studio, so I never got to spend some time. And then at the different meals, they were sitting at different tables, so I didn't get to spend a lot of time. I have in the previous years, I just didn't this year.
Yeah, definitely. They were doing a lot of extra side work for
They
Zuber,
had
so I
work to
think a
do,
lot of
and
people,
that I understand.
yeah, yeah. So I do think a lot of people may have been a little disappointed not seeing them walking around as much. But I think part of that also is I think Zuber doesn't want to um, take away from the presenters, right? Because if Dion and Millennial Mike and Lumberjack are around walking around a lot. I think a lot of people are drawn to them when other people are
Oh
presenting,
yeah.
right?
I
So
mean, they've
I
got a
think
good draw, and that's awesome. I mean, they have that, so it's understandable.
so. Like I said, though, I need to know if you actually requested me to be in the podcast room when you were presenting to not heckle
I
you.
said nothing. I said nothing. You know, I would
Con-
say the biggest disappointment. I really wished I could have had more time. The first presenter took a little more, and so he had to get back on schedule. I did get to talk to him after my presentation because what I did, I would say, here's a suggestion I've just thought of, and I'll send this to Michael. I had a stopwatch clock in front of me. I put it on the floor because I always have, when I'm presenting, I'll either have a clock or something, and I know when I need to be done. So I stuck my phone right in front of me with a stopwatch feature, and I remember looking at it. I would look at it about halfway through, and then I knew, okay, I need to speed up or I need to skip a few points because I'm not hitting it. I knew my slides so well. I did finish up in 32 minutes exactly. So he was saying 30 minutes, but having a clock like they have them sometimes for these conferences, a big countdown clock for your time slot, I think would be helpful for the presenters to stay on task. I was just using my phone, but then I didn't get that time. There was lots of questions, and I think I even forgot my very last slide when I sat down. I had one last slide with my YouTube channel and I'd referenced it in the presentation and I never showed it. Maybe during the questions, I might have remembered it to at least click one more time. But I had a lot of people come up to me after the presentation. I had a line there of 10, 15 people that had lots of questions that I answered that maybe the audience would have wanted to hear too.
Yeah, I think someone else put that in one of the comments. I think having a timer, a big clock timer. I think some people were saying the audio was a little poor, like hearing. I mean, of course, there's a lot of other discussions going on, so the noise was. So I
Right.
think one solution for that could be people could also go onto the live stream and have their blue headsets on, so they can just be hearing the stream like a blue noise cancellation and only hearing
Right.
that. But even that, they
Yeah, I don't think that's the right thought
well,
of solution.
they said that Zoom, even that had issues also, though. People weren't
Yeah.
muting themselves, so that they're having a lot of background noise
Mark,
from that.
Mark
No, not
muting
hey.
themselves.
I will not name anyone who starts with a J in this chat section.
Yasik.
Who yes. Even Steve and Alex, right? They have a timer for their accountability group, which works really well for them.
Yeah, I
So
just use that on my phone because I've seen it. I've presented some other places, and it's a big, huge clock and it's a countdown clock. It really does help for a presenter too. If you know what your material is very well, you know where you need to be I knew where I needed to be based on the minutes. And I think Cody mentioned it too. He had about 3 minutes a slide. I had a total of it was 11 slides, but that 11th slide was just an image of a QR code with my YouTube channel. So I had 10 slides and I knew I had about 3 minutes a slide. And I was using that countdown clock to kind of generally measure where I needed to be in the presentation. I felt like it went fairly well and that I got, 95% of everything I wanted to communicate in that 30 minutes.
Harrison is asking, what are the Gen Z thoughts on Gen Alpha? What
You
is
know,
Gen?
I don't know. That's Gen Alpha is 13-year-old. From what I understand, 13 and under is Gen Alpha.
Yasik is threatening us now. He said, "Just remember, I will see you next year." No, yeah, I was very impressed. I think, well, I'm not Gen Z, but I mean, I was impressed with the teenagers that did attend the event. I think a lot of them were definitely there to soak up a lot of information. And I think a lot of times, everyone pokes fun at Chester for asking a lot of questions, but like we've touched on it quite a bit, is he's always coming from a good place, and he's
Oh,
trying to,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's trying to break the ice and make people feel comfortable. So I think
Yes.
even some of the teenagers maybe felt more comfortable getting up there after
Because you
Chester asked
had,
questions.
I could think right now of at least two. There might have been more that got up and asked questions.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So even though we give Chester a hard time, like I always say, it comes from a good place, and
It's from intent to help get the
yep.
questions going and people feel comfortable.
Curtis, who also got a belt at the event, says, "Elder Gen Z here, and Gen Alpha is odd. I see them every day." Well, we said the same thing about you, probably, Curtis. Right? Every generation before probably is looking at the next generation, like these people are strange. Uh, see, Hyder says all the different generations are confusing me. Yep, I definitely agree. Yasik says Chester asked the questions that many are afraid to ask. So,
Yes.
yep,
Mhm.
he goes up there with intention. He definitely tries to break the ice, and so hopefully other people follow him. Right? He's like the first one up there, and people kind of,
And I
hey, all
think
right.
that's from all of us that have been there 3 years. We know we've observed what he's doing and his purpose. And I agree. It was from awesome caring about the group to get it going.
And that's why it's so great to have him finally in school after having
Yes.
to force him to. He's member 601, so it's fine. He's part of school. But yeah, school is growing. I think we got about 100. There's about 100 members that joined recently.
I
So
think I saw mid 600s now. What I saw this morning, I can't remember.
all right. Well, we will be on the lookout for your video with your daughter, and hopefully she
Yeah.
agrees to do it. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I think there will be a post in school because I didn't see Jeff's message to me the other day, but I guess he posted something about putting everyone's social media handles, especially for the newer people. So
Yeah.
I'll get working on that. And like I said, I'll be back tomorrow, 7:45 a.m. Pacific with Joel and Lauren. If you haven't got a chance, Lauren also just started her YouTube channel, and she was also just on Zuber's channel. She got interviewed. So she talked about her equestrian farm, and now she is working on a boutique hotel. So go check that out. Wait, hold on. There's some more. Oh, Curtis says, I wish I talked to Brandon's family. Well, yeah, he kept them away from us. He said, I don't want them around these
I'm
folks.
trying to protect them.
Oh, yes, Lynn has a great question. So she says, Michael has put a lot of emphasis in health last and this year. Do you guys have any health goals for this year as we're both sniffling and rubbing
I
our
know.
nose?
I know. I think for me, it's just getting more consistent time in the gym. I get busy, still leading an organization a little bit, and just finding a time that I can be more consistent.
Before I answer, Steve is saying, unfortunately, Brannon didn't show his last slide with his YouTube channel, but if I remember correctly, Mark said next year they might have a QR code section. Well, that was actually what I think people mentioned before year three, and maybe it's just a lot to put on Zuber's plate. So if someone else in the community wants to maybe take that on and build a sheet with everyone's QR codes on it,
Where they get it at registration.
yeah, which I did for myself. Sorry, I was being a little selfish, but I did my own QR code for my channel and everything for
Yeah.
check-in. But I'm not gonna if you well, someone else can do that. That's gonna be someone else's job for next year. Health wise is just being able to do a push up soon. I still can't do a push up from my shoulder surgery, so that'll probably be the next step. But definitely get back into it. I've definitely let myself slide a little bit, focusing on this real estate and YouTube channel and everything. But I'm still consistent with the gym, but just nowhere near what I used to be. So. But at the same time, it's also finding that balance. I think maybe before I was too focused on the gym side of things, right? Yeah, six says Lauren and Mark interview coming next week. Well, we'll see what Lauren, we've been telling her to do her channel for years, so we'll see how consistent she gets with it. But I did put Andy's channel in the chat. I will put Lauren's channel also in the chat. But go check them out. Subscribe there. Um, yeah, I got nothing else, man, for today. You got any final words? Are you gonna do a live stream with your daughter or an actual like recording?
Yeah, it'll be a video. I haven't thought about it doing it as a live stream. I think that might intimidate her a little bit more. So it might be a video so that she could feel good that if she made a mistake, we could re-record some stuff. I just got to feel her out because I want her to. I think I would appreciate it, and I think the group would to hear from her age group, and then just even what I read to y'all were pretty good insights that if an 18-year-old could get that insight, you know, adults, it makes an impact.
Absolutely. So I think hopefully what Zuber said he wanted maybe 50 teenagers next year.
That's what he said, around 50
He
next
also
year.
mentioned hope. I think someone else mentioned too. They hope maybe it's early 20s kind of thing, like not necessarily teenager.
I'm hoping for early
Yeah.
20s because I look at, especially from 16 to 22, 23. I think they're very similar. The early 20s, they're starting to live outside of maybe the home. It could be immediate application for them of some of the stuff that I'm thinking I would discuss. And then 15, 16, 17 year olds, they're about to apply it. It's prepping them to apply it. I think that there's a window of not just a couple of years group that I think would be very impactful too.
Hyder does say my goal is to get into push-up shape to win next year's contest. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people jonesy for that. I think Cody Davis, Yasik, Hyder. There's a few people pushing for that. But yeah, man, thanks for doing this. I know you're busy. I think we're all trying to catch up with things. Returning from Vegas, it was a fun time. When did you come into town? So how long were you there exactly again?
We came in or right at afternoon on Thursday and left Monday mid afternoon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you came straight to the beer park basically, right, on Thursday. Was that our beer?
Caught y'all there. We were walking around, and so we came over there. You had messaged me as we were kind of doing a taking everybody walking the strip a little bit, and then you told me where y'all were. So on our way back, we stopped
Yeah,
there.
because you didn't even check in yet, right? Like you were waiting, right? Kind of.
Yeah, I think at that moment they didn't have our room ready, so we just dropped off our luggage there at the
Yeah.
hotel, and so we were just walking around while we were waiting for our room to be ready.
All right. Yeah, it was fun. I was there from Tuesday to Tuesday, so it was a long week, but it was a lot of fun. Couple stragglers on
Yeah,
Monday. Went to the Mob Museum. That was fun. Had lunch with a few people. But I had dinner with Jason. But yeah, it was fun time. Everyone, if you can get into Vegas a little bit earlier before the event, I think that's where a lot of the benefit comes from. A lot of the great discussions. Sounds like the event's going to be quite different next year. And especially the date, so it'll be in January. But yeah, I'll see you next week, Brandon, and I'll be looking out for that
see you
video
next
with your
week.
daughter, man. It'll be cool. Thanks, man.
Yep, sounds
Okay,
good.
bye.
Bye.